Good afternoon, everybody who's turning in for Liberty's Cage today. Unfortunately, Sarah McAbee and myself are out on the road, and we will not be able to film a live show today. But we are here in beautiful Midway, Utah, and you would not believe the love that the January 6th community received out here, and not to mention this beautiful scenery behind me. We have a treat for you today. Chris Burgard and Nick Searcy's documentary called Capital Punishment. I hope you guys enjoy it. We should be back next week, and we're going to try to get some content filmed up so we won't have to miss any more shows. But thank you so much for tuning in. May God bless you all, and may God bless this beautiful United States of America. Thank you so much.
Shalom and welcome to another His Glory documentary to help spread the gospel of Jesus Christ from east to west to north to south. It's our pleasure to bring you documentaries like Capital Punishment, Beyond the Border, and now the New Holy Land. We need you. We want to reach the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ, and to do so takes funding for these projects. If you make a small donation to the Kingdom Fund, it will allow His Glory continue to creating movies, documentary, TV shows that can reach the world for Jesus Christ. We're not asking you to give a huge donation unless God calls you to do so, but we're asking is for you to give what you can to help reach the world for Christ. And if we can all work together and change the face of our planet in a way no one ever thought possible. So please scan the QR code or visit the site at hisglory.tv/donate. Thank you, and go in His shalom.
Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, outstanding.
Here to support our president.
Is today a day in history?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
God bless.
I'm going to give this to my grandchildren.
Jersey.
Trump brings me out here, man. Trump.
God bless, man. Where are you from?
New York City.
What brings you out here, man?
You know what? Trump.
Here to take our country back. Be able to have the choice to stand up.
There's an estimated over 3 million people here today. So despite what the media tells you, boots on ground definitely say something different. There is a sea of nothing but red, white, and blue patriots and Trump. And it was amazing to get to see the president talk. We are now walking down the inaugural path to the Capitol building. 3 million plus people. God bless America, patriots.
This is treason.
Scaling walls, smashing windows.
Armed protesters could be taking to the streets, causing trouble.
A terrorist organization.
We, the FBI, view as domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorists. All Trump followers, racist.
In the crowd, perhaps around 20 people, joined in screaming, "Boo, fucking nigger," and deadly assault.
You thought you were going to be raped.
Yeah.
This is not a protest. This is an attack on America.
January 6, 2021, domestic terrorist attack.
The insurrection at the Capitol.
That was an insurrection.
Insurrection.
The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
I think the issue is, what do we need to do to make sure that our enemies and the terrorists cannot establish safe havens?
Mr. Searcy, thank you for attending this hearing today. I understand that you attended the insurrection riot on January 6th. Yeah, I attended. So what? What exactly did you do while you were there? I walked around a lot. I saw a lot of people praying. I saw a lot of people singing.
Really?
I saw a lot of people waving flags and singing the Star Spangled Banner and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Is there any reason that you can give this committee today as to why we should not throw you in jail right now without bail for being a white supremacist, racist, terrorist, insurrectionist? Does this thing work?
You did not tell the truth, and you tried to cover it up.
Do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
No. Witness reclaiming my time.
I never expected the day to be quite as emotional for me as it has been.
I yield the remainder of my time to one of the other fine communists up here on the...
1 year ago, I was waitressing in a taco shop.
I'm in my time.
Put your mask on.
I came here on January 6th because I love this country, and that's why I'm here now. And if you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. Bailiff, please handcuff Mr. Searcy, and then bark at the hole. I'm Nick Searcy. On January 6, 2021, I went to Washington, D.C., along with multitudes of other Americans because we believed that the election was stolen. I hope you can get a sense of the scope of what I'm seeing here. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans here. They are here because they love this country.
Bucked in my privates by people I never even met in my life.
It's like if this little bit here's the Capitol and here's people going in there. They didn't show all of this out here.
That day, it was 2 million. I mean, like, no question.
But I would say roughly 2 million people. We're singing gospel songs and we're waving flags, and that was the general feeling of the crowd.
People who weren't there can't imagine being in the middle of how many people are there. I mean, when the Bible talks about a sea of people, that's what it was like.
I saw people of all colors, races, creeds, Asian Americans for Trump, blacks for Trump. I even saw a guy wearing a shirt that said "Fags for Trump." And since I'm from California, I knew that guy. I saw people praying, singing songs, dancing.
And if we will repent and pray, he will hear our prayers.
It didn't look like a riot. It looked like a tailgate party. Most of the people that I saw there were my age or older. They couldn't have been armed to the teeth because their teeth were false.
I said as long as Trump or people stand, the rest of America will stand.
And just look at these domestic terrorists driving their tactical vehicles into battle.
Man, what brings you out here today?
Love of country, God, and Trump. We're all here.
What are you scared about? Oh, yeah, you gotta take your shoes off.
An insurrection? Armed with what? Flags, selfie sticks, and iPhones? What are they talking about? And why didn't the media ever show you this?
So where are you from? What brings you out here?
We're from Illinois. Half the country feel that this election was stolen.
Came out from Seattle, Washington. Just came. I'm one of the politicians to know that we know they stole it.
We naively thought that there's so many of us here, surely Mike Pence will say, hey, we need 10 days to go back to the state legislatures and make sure these are the real results.
I met retired federal people. They'd been studying the issue of election fraud, and they were telling me to watch out for if you see any election counting get stopped on November 3rd, that will be a sign that they're trying to cheat.
They had to suspend tabulation for a while until they...
And then on election night, it happened.
Pennsylvania, President Trump is up 600,000 votes, and yet they're saying they're not going to resume counting.
That's one of the most frustrating things that's been for me talking to people about this, where they go, the courts threw it all out. There's no evidence.
And he lost in 61 straight cases in federal court and state court. In the
Am I
lowest court
correct in saying that no court has actually looked at the evidence?
There's no court that I've found that ever had an evidentiary hearing, brought in witnesses, brought in the exhibits, and weighed all of the information and made a decision. Having been a judge and a chief justice, I know that's what needed to occur. When you have cowards on the courts that won't take up these matters that are in controversy and resolve them, they create chaos out of that.
Yeah, hi. This is Nick Searcy. I'm calling on behalf of about 79 million people. I'd like to speak to one of the Supreme Court justices. Yeah, it's about that thing about you just wouldn't take the case about the election for lack of standing. Well, I'm standing right here. I'm right in front of the building. Hello? Hello?
What was January 6th? If it wasn't an insurrection, what was January 6th?
What January 6th was actually an overwhelmingly peaceful march. These were people who were frustrated by a stolen election, frustrated by a media that is corrupt, frustrated by an education system that seeks to teach their children to hate them.
What do you think's at stake today?
Oh, the future of our country, everything. This is it.
Republican Party is going to be the Patriot Party. And we are not going to be the Republican Party where it's a do-nothing freaking party. Those days are over.
It was very orderly.
He said, who's ready to fight for America?
Everyone was very friendly.
Everyone was kind of singing and happy and joyful. There was people breaking out into like patriotic songs.
Red Geyser, where the night is a light from above.
Trump is my uncle. I'm going to stand behind him for the rest of my life. It was the most beautiful experience that I have ever witnessed in my whole life.
A sea of people and all different shades, from dark brown to light white. I mean, everybody you can imagine.
I saw a rainbow of people, black, white, Chinese, Italians, Latinos. Trump is my president for life.
Saw a Orthodox Jewish guy with the blowing a shofar. Yeah, it was amazing.
We're out here standing in full effect for our president and for America and for our way of life to let them know that we're not just going to let the election just slip out from under us. We're just not going to let that happen.
We're from Minnesota, and we're out here to support our president and our country.
But when I watched the news, it didn't look anything like what I'd seen.
And I rise in support of the article of impeachment against Donald J. Trump. If we fail to remove a white supremacist president who incited a white supremacist insurrection...
He has a base of supporters who are very anti-immigrant and a white supremacist.
How long have you been a white supremacist?
I guess all my life, according to the left.
My birth name is Felipe Antonio Martinez, and I've been called a white supremacist.
Hey, Nick. Did you hear about the white nationalist mixer tonight? Are you going? I mean, I don't know anyone who claims to be a white supremacist or white nationalist.
I think it was the finality of their ability to steal the election. I think it was the last thing to get everybody who was undecided at that moment to think, oh, look at these bunch of white supremacist Nazi people going to destroy our country, these bunch of Trump supporters.
I have no want or need in my life to waste the energy to tell them that this brown man is not a white supremacist.
Since I didn't know any of these white supremacists the media was talking about, I decided to try to find some. So where did I start? Texas, of course.
Now, this might look like a typical, normal American neighborhood to you, but I've been watching the news. And I know that behind any of these doors, there could be a violent, far-right, extremist, anarchist, nihilist, terrorist, white supremacist, insurrectionist, extremist. I've got my can of whoop-ass here, And if I run into an insurrectionist, I'm going to pour it all over. And we have it on good authority that a person who went to the January 6th riot lives in that house right there. All right, I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you. This is pepper spray. I just want to find out why you went to Washington on January 6th.
Okay, come on in. It's safe.
You sure? Do you have any of your insurrectionist friends here with you? Are you armed?
No.
Do you have any vodka?
Ella is a 73-year-old widow who immigrated legally from Poland in 1996. She was there on January 6th, but she never went inside the Capitol.
I said, no, I have a time. I'm retired. I'm going to go and just show my support.
When you got to the Capitol and the speech was kind of over, where did you go then? You went to the Capitol building?
We stood up a few feet from the steps of the Capitol.
So you didn't go forward into the Capitol or anything?
That left side was getting crazy. They were going on those the platforms for the inauguration, right? So they were like, why are you doing that? And they're telling us, come closer. Like, I'm happy here when I am. I don't need to go there.
What motivated you to go to Washington on January 6th?
President Trump asked us to be there. But this wasn't for President Trump. This is for our Constitution. This is for the salvation of our country, the saving of our country.
Somebody was singing Amazing Grace off in the distance. It was, we're very patriotic, so it was very touching.
Right.
And so go ahead.
Groups holding hands, praying. There were prayer groups. It was wonderful when we first got up there.
We saw people going into the Capitol.
We saw people lined up, and they were just
going in and coming
walking
out.
into this area. They would go in for a minute or two because it was a small area and come back out. So I said, you want to go in?
And they weren't running in?
Oh, no.
People
they just walked in and walked out. So I thought, well, I would like to see what it looks like.
So we go inside and
you, by and large, you just walked in and walked out?
We
were in there no more than 3 minutes.
I took some photographs. I took a video. I talked to one Capitol Police officer and asked if he was upset that we were in there, and he just shook his head. He went like that. He said no.
Really? He just said no?
He said no, I'm not upset.
He didn't tell you you had to go?
Oh, no, there were about 10 of them lined up. They never said a word to any one of us. There were probably about 30 people in that area.
It was a small
at one time.
space,
It was
very small space.
And they were saying, USA, USA. It was exciting. It was still exciting, but okay.
And we didn't think we were doing anything wrong because the police were standing there not saying you can't come in here.
Right.
This is Derek, a small business owner who lives with his wife and daughter in a nice suburban Southern California town. He and his friend Tony, a union pipe fitter with a wife and 3 children, met in the summer of 2020 when they both volunteered to help small businesses in their town board up before a threatened BLM rally. They met that day, they talked about their faith, and became good friends. They have since together ministered to the homeless, gone to church together. They both felt called to go to Washington on January 6th. Neither of them entered the building, so neither of them expected what happened next.
Our president had called us, the Patriots, to go there, to gather, and I felt like I needed to be there.
I felt the calling from the Lord. I work security at my church, keeping people safe, elderly, families, women. So we were there just to kind of be the eyes and ears and protect. We all had medical gear on us. We kept the Lord in it the whole time, prayed, we did church, we studied Proverbs on the drive out there. We did the drives 40 hours. We rented an SUV. We did Cannonball Run 2021.
You drove all the way?
We drove all the way. There were people heading towards the Capitol, before the speech was done. We're getting reports that Antifa is doing stuff at the Capitol. So we started heading towards the Capitol. I mean, it was just Very intense situation. We helped the guy and got his head busted open. You know, people were getting hit with, they started doing pepper balls through the paintball guns, you know, CS gas canisters. They were doing obviously batons, rubber bullets. We actually had like a little triage station. There was a place where people could sit, and we busted out the wipes and eye wash because there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people that were pepper sprayed. Yeah, I ended up getting shot in the chest with a flashbang. We saw a set of open doors. My partner, Tony, he looked at me, I looked at him, he said, "What do you think about that?" And I said, "I don't like it." He said, "No, that's like a spider web. It feels like a trap."
We made a walk towards the Capitol building because we were told that there was a stage set up there for the speeches that we were invited to participate in.
We were walking with a crowd of people who were supposed to speak. I could kind of see over in the distance there was a platform and there was microphones set up and a PA system.
And Dr. Gold was going to make an address wherever that stage was.
But they did not let us approach that staged area. To this day, I don't know why. We were there, there's tons and tons of people behind us, and I don't know, eventually the doors were opened. I had nothing to do with that, and me and amongst many people were swept inside. People were keeping within the lines of the ropes, you know, that keep people in. So at some point, I just found myself in a place, and my communications director said, "Here would be a good place," and somebody passed me a megaphone, and I just started giving my speech.
I just walked into a crowd of people. I didn't push by any barricades. I didn't disobey any commands. I had no idea that that was what they called an unauthorized zone. But the second part of the charge was with a willful intent to disrupt the certification of the election. And that's not why I was there either.
We've been screaming, we've been fighting, but now I want you to pray with me.
I wasn't a part of a coordinated effort. I wasn't a part of a group of people that were working together. I was just there on my own accord to peacefully protest alongside many other Americans that had the same heart that I did.
We're here at the Capitol on the line. It's a great day for America.
That was the charge, a misdemeanor charge, and the result of it was I spent the next 3 weeks in jail.
In jail?
In jail in the D.C. Department of Corrections, and it was probably the most difficult time of my life.
It was February 19th, 6:02 in the morning. I was asleep. I heard something. I woke up a little disoriented. So I started hearing this voice.
The FBI, you have a federal search warrant for the property. Come out with your hands.
All occupants, and they list my address. And they said, "This is the FBI. We have a federal search warrant for your property. Come out with your hands up and nothing in your hands." And immediately I was just in disbelief. I was like, which one of my buddies is pulling this prank on me? But then I kind of see some lights flashing, reflections. So I'm like, okay. So I ran to the front of my house into a spare bedroom. I got shutters. I opened the shutters, and I just saw one of those huge like Bearcat tactical vehicles that had the battering ram, you know, mounted to the front, and it was pointed right at that window that I cracked the shutters. And I shut them as fast as I could, and I'm like, okay, this is not a joke. Ran into the next room where my daughter was sleeping. Fortunately, my wife was at work, but unfortunately, my daughter was sleeping. She was there, and I just ran in, and all I could muster to say was, sweetheart, you gotta wake up. Daddy has to go outside right now. I ran to the front door, and they're repeating.
You have a federal search warrant for the property. Come out with your hands up
And so my front security door, the screen opens up towards the street. I didn't want them to get too excited, so kind of was inching my long arms out.
And they're out here like this.
Yeah.
They're just
and
like...
Got my hands out, and as soon as I step out, I hear a flashbang go off. So I hear, then they told me to come out, put your hands up, start yelling contact front. So about right here, I had a whole bunch of red dots all over my chest. I have red dots all over my chest.
So that's the sights,
from
the laser
the rifles, yes. And told me to step out, turn around slowly, put my hands behind my back with my palms facing outward, and then walk back to the sound of their voice and kneel down into my driveway where they grabbed me and handcuffed me. And he's all, is there anyone else in the house? I said, yes, my 12-year-old daughter. Guys, please go easy on my daughter. They called my daughter out, and I see her come out, and she's got some little pajama shorts and a t-shirt.
Faye, how were you feeling at this point? I mean, were you scared? Did you know what was going on, or?
Just put my shoes on and went out there, and just a bunch of bright lights were in my face, and they were like, it's okay. And I'm like, you call this okay? I was just going out, and they brought me across the street, and I was just really cold. Because I felt really embarrassed because I was just in a tank top too. And I was just cold and really scared. And I just saw him handcuffed sitting down on the curb. And I was just about to break down, crying.
My wife said she heard them before I heard them. I'm a very heavy sleeper. But what woke me up was a concussion grenade. Those things are really loud. Once I get into the area where the living room and the kitchen opens up, another flashbang went off on the side of my house, and I could see the silhouettes of about 10, at least 10 on the side of my house. You could just see all the tactical gear and everything. When I got to the door, they called me by Tony. Tony, this is the FBI, open up the door. And I opened up the blinds, and I was like, ugh. And my dog was right next to me, and he was going crazy. And I said, let me secure my dog, hold on. I said, if you don't open the door, we're gonna break in the front door. And I'm thinking, okay, if they take me away, I don't wanna leave this big hole in front of my house for my family.
Right.
At that point, the back sliding glass door breaks. They come in through that. And so I'm like, okay, they mean business. And I wasn't able to grab my dog, and I opened up the front door, and he went running out. And I said, don't shoot my dog, don't shoot my dog, he's a good dog.
How long did it take your dog to come back?
A week.
So you got woken up in the midst of all this too?
I was confused, and my hearing was starting to come back, and it sounded like war.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. There was flashes and just the loudest bangs on the door. It was like almost shaking the house. My dad was at the door, and he was about to open it, and I went to grab my dog. Before I could grab my dog, they handcuffed me.
They handcuffed you?
Yes.
Wow.
What? They just told you to put your hands behind your back or something?
They were like, yeah, put your hands behind your back. And so I didn't want to cause any trouble, so I let. Yeah. At that point, I was freaking out, and I was about to cry, but I had it. My dad, he's taught me that I can't get scared, or else I'm just gonna make a mess out of myself. So I said it out loud. I was like, breathe, Isabel, breathe. So I did.
When that front door was open, there was like a sea of men behind them. I mean, it's just women probably too, but they were all in tactical gear, just geared up. And I tried to stay as calm as I could. They pulled me outside, and that's when I seen what the guys are calling a Bearcat. It didn't have a battering ram in it, but what it did have was a turret on top, and there was a guy on top, and he was pointing his gun at all my neighbors. At that point, I could see my neighbors outside. He was just had his gun ready to pull up anytime he needed to, and he just making sure no one's coming up from behind. I didn't know they had handcuffed Isabel. I didn't know what they were doing, but all of a sudden I see my wife, and they had her handcuffed, and she was just saying, they had asked her a question, are you okay? She's like, I'm just pissed.
And did they say anything to you before they handcuffed you, or?
No, I asked them, why are you doing this? Where's the warrant? And they said, you need to step back. You need to step back and give me your wrists so I can handcuff you. And I'm not sure if he said that the warrant is coming or not, but they didn't have it.
They didn't have a warrant with them.
At that moment.
Right, right.
And then the FBI said the last things, and then I just woke up.
I have guys with flashbang burns on their rug. They flashbanged his house, his pregnant wife. She had a miscarriage shortly after.
For a second, I didn't realize that there were about 20 FBI SWAT team members with semi-automatic rifles pointed at my son and I, because I was distracted by the bright red lasers pointed at our faces, chests, and various points on my 4-year-old son and I.
Right now, the weight, the entire weight of the government is coming down on trespassers that took selfies.
He said, are you Maureen Bailey? And I said, yes. And he said, we're the FBI. We're with the FBI. And I...
Well, you said, tell me what you said. You said, are you kidding?
I did. All I kept saying was, are you kidding? And they kind of played good cop, bad cop.
So you let them in?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Federal misdemeanor trespass charges. And that would include 1 year in jail. Federal prison. And that the arrest would occur possibly as soon as the next week. You are now on a list of suspected domestic terrorists.
Unbelievable.
2 74-year-old women, and we're,
Twin domestic terrorists.
Yes. And, I'm a grandmother.
And we know that a neighbor turned us in to the FBI.
You know that a neighbor told the FBI
Yes,
that you
we
were-
know for a fact.
My friends that live in Pennsylvania told me that there was a billboard in Pennsylvania looking for people who were there January 6th. They said if you were there or know anyone, it was a number to call.
On a highway?
Yes. I was driving to my parents' house in Florida, and I saw another one on the way. And it just gave me chills that, it was almost like we were being hunted down, like we were criminals or something.
If this was a real insurrection to overthrow our Constitution, it's perfectly legitimate for those billboards to be out there saying we have to round up these real subversives who are trying to destroy what we have as a Constitution. But that's not what it is. It's a political hunt to demonize people who have certain political beliefs that actually are the most devoted to our constitutional system of anybody in the country.
This is a whole-of-government approach under the Biden administration with help from the media and a lot of Republicans to paint these people as terrorists and treat them as such by our Justice Department.
I pulled the link up, and it looks like one of these FBI most wanted list of people, and they're tiny little headshots or icon photos. And then I realize, oh, wait, that's me. And that's Dr. Gold.
If the government was concerned about my actions or behavior, somebody like me, who's not violent and has never been accused ever of anything violent, you would expect a phone call and very easy to track down. So in no way, shape, or form was I expecting the FBI to scare me to death and break down my door. With 20 guys, a dozen guns, long, big machine guns, pointed at me. It was so over the top, there's still no words to describe it.
At what point were you contacted?
By the scariest, most aggressive pounding on the door that I think I've ever heard, preceded by the door being literally broken down and busted through in a matter of 60 seconds or so, with screams of FBI, FBI.
It's not yelling. This is not like normal yelling. This is like screaming at the top of your lungs. It's like a death scream. It's so scary when it is. They're bursting in the door, and then like 6 feet from me is a big guy, FBI, guns drawn.
10 or 12 people that rushed in immediately with automatic rifles and screaming at the top of their lungs like full, battle gear.
was pretty good. It was about twice that decibel, but like that, about twice that.
Bigger? Okay.
But that was quite loud. Yeah. It was that was close.
Close to that? Okay. And then what happens?
Oh my God.
Open the door!
Oh my God. It's like giving me PTSD. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like so scary. It was so, and I froze, and it completely froze. And I leap up, and I just kind of stood there. And then they're like, we're gonna break the door down, we're gonna break the door down. I'm like, hang on. And we're turning around to open the door, and they broke the door down.
And so then what? They just sort of, this is when they started saying,
Hands up, put your hands on the wall, hands on the wall. Turn around, turn around, turn around. Really scary, really
you were
scary.
right there, and you turned around.
Basically right where Sarah is.
You back up against that wall, and
Oh
they
my God,
cuffed
it's
you
giving
right
me
there.
it's like giving me a heart attack. It's like so scary. Once they broke down the door, till the moment I was able to call somebody, was 9 hours. No reading of the rights, no phone call, no attorney.
I didn't go before a judge before I was put in jail. No, sir.
Well, they just stuck you.
They stuck me in jail.
They took me to jail.
They took you straight to jail.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to call an attorney?
No.
They didn't give you that chance.
No.
We were taken to Santa Ana jail, and that's where we were for the night. And we were brought into, I'm guessing about a 6 by 10 foot cement cell.
Were you by yourself?
I was by myself.
Then from that point, they took me to a prison.
I got marched into a jail and stripped and put into all that process, and really not given any explanation of anything other than, follow this instruction, do this.
They put me in a cell by myself, total solitary confinement in a cell not much bigger than a walk-in closet. And I spent the following 9 days in that cell in total solitary confinement. I was restricted access to a shower. I wasn't able to use the phone. I wasn't able to speak to an attorney.
We were handcuffed, orange, shackled, you're shuffling when you walk. Really, it was quite something.
I was in jail for 4 straight days, 3 nights.
Well, I don't know how many times I was called an effing white cracker.
I kept banging on the door saying, I have never had a phone call. Like, can I please talk to someone in the outside world to figure out what's going on?
I don't know how many times I heard the chants, F Trump, F Trump, F Trump. And these are by guards that work there.
But that was actually pretty difficult. I didn't see a clock for 4 days. I had no concept of what day or time it was or what was happening or not happening.
I had the deputy warden come to my cell one day. The only time I saw her, she came to my cell, and I tried to explain to her the way I was being treated and the racial undertone that was being used against me, and just the overall horrible place I was in. And she leaned down to my cell and she spoke through the little slot that they were feeding me through. And she said, the only job these guards have is to keep your chest moving up and down.
Our system is not supposed to work like this. Our system's not supposed to work where a person doesn't get the charges read, doesn't get to speak with their attorney, as though we don't have those civil rights in place. And that's incorrect. It's all illegal and against the law to handle people like this.
I can't say that I still don't suffer from it. And I feel like I'm a very strong person, but it's not a place that I ever want to go back to. The mental trauma is beyond words.
This is psychological warfare. It has no legal basis. It's a military operation. It's like tactical military operation like you'd see in a counter-terrorist op in Afghanistan or Iraq or someplace else, when you have crowds of heavily armed personnel trained as a tactical unit breaking in, holding people, holding children, scaring people, terrorizing them, and then not even allowing them to any form of even legal defense for a certain time, but making sure that it's all publicized, that everybody knows. This is to get into people's psychology, like, whoa, I'm just not going to get involved. I'd better shut up. I'd better not question my government anymore, whatever my government is. And then you and I might say, well, my government means it's a government that governs by the consent of the governed, meaning it's accountable to the public. That's becoming subversive talk now. And you talk to a lot of these FBI agents and generals, and I've talked to even 4-star generals, they've never read the United States Constitution and they don't know what it means. Yet they've sworn time and again to defend it and uphold it against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and now they're being told, there's the domestic enemy, go after him.
They did pull out of the shelving unit. They pulled down this box of pocket constitutions, and they set one out on top like that so that they could take pictures of it. And not sure what their angle was.
Well, this Constitution, it's a racist document, you know, that you're not supposed to have this. Right?
This has never happened in our history, where you're treating having the Constitution as subversive literature and of a potentially criminal nature, and they're using it as evidence, collecting it. It's insane.
They not only weaponized portions of our system, they weaponized our communities, right? Because now we have people in the community trying to turn people in.
There was a man who was a teacher, and he did not even go in the Capitol building, and he was fired from his job when they found out.
He's a public school teacher.
Public school teacher in Pennsylvania.
They destroyed me back in my hometown, putting terrible reviews up, calling my staff, harassing them. I had employees quit. I had clients leave because they called me an insurrectionist when I was nowhere near any part of an insurrection. So it has been a very coordinated effort to defeat America mentally, emotionally, psychologically, okay, spiritually.
Jim Riley runs a living history farm in Yucaipa, California. His neighbors found out that he attended the rally on January 6th.
I began to find both unbridled statements of support for what had happened and the worst kind of hatred I think I've ever seen.
Hatred directed toward you personally.
Death threats, wanted our entire farm burned down, wanted all of our family burned alive. I mean, just unfathomable hatred.
We had several people posting all over my Facebook, my social media accounts, tagging the FBI, saying this guy's an insurrectionist. Right. And now my community is weaponized against me because of what the media is pushing without doing any kind of investigative work.
So I travel around speaking nationally, and I'm being told I can't fly. So I have appointments in Idaho, I have appointments in Oklahoma, I have appointments in Florida, and I have appointments in the Northeast. Exactly how am I supposed to accomplish this without being able to fly?
This is Silva, where I grew up. And I heard that someone from Silva had been arrested for going to Washington on January 6th, just like I did. So I asked everybody that I knew here. He was gone, wiped off the face of the earth. Why? His name is Lewis Easton Cantwell.
I sell teas that help people with medicinal problems.
And on paper, he's everything you would want in an American.
I ran that shop for the first 2 years by myself. I'd run it from when I got off work from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 2 a.m. every day, 7 days a week.
Veteran.
You trained to be a disarming bombs?
Yes, sir. Yeah, EOD, an 89 Delta.
Small business owner. He ran this place called Sipsum, teas and coffees. He had another store in Maggie Valley.
Everything was golden. I had just set up some nice rooms upstairs that we were going to open up more area for more customers.
And yet because he went to Washington on January 6th, his life has been ruined.
As soon as they heard that I got arrested, people who I thought were friends stopped talking to me.
And not just by the government, by the community coming after him.
I'm getting all these messages from my landlord, and he's evicting me now.
Bad Yelp reviews, hate mail, death threats. They destroyed his business.
I had no choice but to shut down the business because of so much negative attention.
One morning, February, Easton comes out of his business, pick up the trash.
I'm outside picking it up in the garbage bag, and literally a show of force like you'd never believe shows up at my house. So you're talking FBI, U.S. Marshals, local police, sheriff's office, and there's like 20, 30 cars, like all unmarked SUVs. They're getting out with AR-15s. They put me in ankle cuffs and this, which is super embarrassing, first off. I mean, you look really bad when someone puts ankle cuffs on you.
Yeah, you gotta walk like that.
Yeah, like I'm an escaped multiple convicted murderer or like head of a cartel somewhere. That's how I felt.
I read a lot of Soviet history when I was younger, and I always wondered about the civilian informants. How could they turn on their neighbors like that? Well, now I know.
While I was in jail, they had an informant in there who was trying to get me to talk to him about bombs. Somebody had planted bombs at the RNC and the DNC.
A hunt intensifying for the elusive suspect who planted those bombs at the RNC and DNC headquarters. Here you see the suspect in a residential neighborhood only blocks from the Capitol where the riot would take place the next day. Notice how in the video the suspect is walking with a somewhat odd gait. 12 minutes later, here's the suspect sitting on a bench at DNC headquarters where he apparently plants a bomb in one of those bushes. A few minutes later, you see the suspect walking down an alley.
They keep trying to create this narrative of, you know, that I'm a bomb guy, and it makes me nervous because it's like they're using my service against me.
When you Google Easton's name now, you don't get veteran, you don't get business owner, you get racist. You get white supremacist, terrorist, insurrectionist. Where does Easton go to get his name back? Where does he go for justice? Why do they do that? It's to send a message. It's to intimidate. They are trying to criminalize decent, honorable Americans that disagree with the government.
They want to make examples out of the common guy that spreads it around so you'll never stand up for your rights again. And if you do, you know what you're going to get.
On Instagram, you know, during the 2020 election, even though I had 80,000 followers, nobody was seeing my posts. So all the people that have elected to follow me and hear my voice, I'm not able to hear my voice because they have algorithms that are set up to completely bury everything that I am saying.
In the weeks after the event, you know, I was completely digitally assassinated. I was pretty much wiped off the map in every way they could possibly do.
Or if you talk about this on social media, why, you could be banned for spreading extreme, dangerous disinformation. When I say, look, I was in Philadelphia and I could tell you that you told me you were going to stop counting ballots, but then you kept counting ballots. You kicked the poll watchers out. I knew people who were poll watchers that got kicked out in Philadelphia. That, you know, they had to use binoculars at one point because they couldn't see what anybody was looking at, right? Don't tell me that didn't happen. I was there. I saw it. I know the people who saw it. You can talk to them. But that information was never allowed to be shared on a wide scale.
You know, the reason that Hitler put the Jews into ghettos was to remove their voice from the community, so that they could not counter the false narratives of the supremacy with their humanity. Well, right now, even as we speak, this Jew has been ghettoized. I am permanently suspended from Twitter, and I'm in day 10, I believe, of yet another 30-day stint in Zuckerberg's gulag. And it serves exactly the same end as Stalin's gulag, removing my voice so I cannot counter the narrative of the supremacy.
And they're just beaten on the head of the American public to say, hey, don't look here. There's nothing to see here. This is all wrong. These people, these are conspiracy theorists.
Conspiracy theory? Wonder where that term came from. For a long time, the lone gunman's single bullet theory was sold to us as irrefutable fact. But these days, is it any longer that hard to believe that there could be a vast conspiracy of special interests, both inside and outside the government, that could take out a president or any individual that such forces considered a threat?
That makes us white as snow.
I went there to pray. I went there to pray for the country, pray for the republic, and pray for the citizens and our leaders.
Being around the Capitol for so long, I used to work in the House and the Senate. You sort of know the security protocols. And for a joint session of Congress, you're going to have some kind of temporary fence around the Capitol grounds, and you're going to have Capitol Police, and you're going to have canine units. There was none of that.
We're standing there for the longest time, and 2 policemen came down. There was only 2 policemen at the time. So I'm thinking, there's going to be a crowd control issue here.
On the way toward the White House, so it's about a 17, 18 block walk, the police presence was very low.
I didn't see police there. I mean, I can't remember seeing a single police officer, not park police, not that, until you went into the ellipse where the Trump stuff was, and then they were taking away your backpacks, they were checking you, doing all that stuff. But to see, gosh, maybe 1 million people or more, and no police, that was something.
So we made it to D.C., we met some awesome people doing some great things, and check this out. I got a hot date.
There was a point where I turned to Lisa and I said, honey, I got a bad feeling. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm getting deja vu back to Honduras. I had been in Honduras and I covered the attempted color revolution down there. And I told her, I said, honey, I got a feeling something bad's going to happen at the end of this event, and I think people are going to die today. And then you called me, and you were down there, and you said to me, I just saw Capitol Police move the barriers, and they're letting people into the Capitol.
Well, they're not behind the barricades anymore.
I turned to Lisa and I said, it doesn't feel right. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, look around you. Where's CNN? Where's MSNBC? Where's Fox? I said, there are no camera crews here.
And by the way, I've checked back at home in Dallas, and my wife tells me that not one network, including Fox, are covering this event. It's as if it's not happening.
This tells me that they are not going to, the image you see of peaceful people and grandmothers and families praying and singing and marching to the Capitol to practice their First Amendment, that's not the images that they want to run with from this event.
I want to take a moment now to address the notion that we need to listen to Trump supporters who are somehow being silenced or censored. In the hour before the deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol, President Trump told his supporters, quote, make your voices heard. Let me show you some of the, quote, very special people he wants us to hear from. For instance, there's this wise shaman, the guy wearing the badger pelt.
Their sole purpose is to create a narrative that fits whatever fits the establishment politicians. So they will just, cover certain angles and selectively cover things in order to create a narrative and not show you the full picture of what's going on.
To the Capitol, because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
Wait a minute. That looked a little bit selectively edited to me. Let's see what they really did here at Good Morning America. First, they write words and violence on the screen because they want to imply that Trump's words caused the violence. But what they did was edit together two different parts of the speech to make it seem like Trump asked for violence. But this is what Trump really said.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard today.
Oh, well, that kind of makes it fake news, doesn't it? Hey, and look at all this footage we shot right after Trump's speech. I mean, what a violent, bloodthirsty mob of stone killers ready to overthrow the government. Just chilling. And I mean, look at those nuns. If you've ever been in Catholic school, you know how mean those nuns can get.
There was people singing. There was a lot of happy people there. There was no issues whatsoever. It wasn't until President Trump was in the middle of a speech when I got a text message that said they breached the Capitol. And I thought, who in the world was that?
The people that were already there, the ones that were already starting to break in, they weren't hearing his speech. It wasn't being broadcast. It wasn't being carried any place. So who inspired them to break into the Capitol?
There is no way people could have made it from the ellipse or from outside the Washington Monument up to the Capitol in time for the quote-unquote insurrection.
A simple walk from the garden area that we were at to the Capitol building, that distance is about a mile, so a brisk walk would usually take about 15 or 18 minutes. I think it took us almost 45 minutes to get there, and that was just massive humanity, slowing it down.
The 2 million people, like, you could barely move. Like, it was just so crowded at that point.
No, I remember that too. Just walking through the crowd, you're just like literally like touching shoulders on either side and squeezing through.
Certainly, while we're equal opportunity and looking for violent extremism of any ideology, we have not to date seen any evidence of anarchist violent extremists or people subscribing to Antifa in connection with the 6th.
Christopher Wray testified that there is no Antifa, then I put that in the category of hot air.
J. Edgar Hoover would be proud of Director Wray. He's corrupt. We know Black Lives Matter was there, and we've identified them, and Antifa.
And then there was these other people, like John Earl Sullivan, the perfect provocateur.
John Sullivan, who is a Black Lives Matter Antifa leader.
You got cops. You see the cops way behind us? Black Lives Matter.
We got Rick Trump out of that office right over there.
John Sullivan sells on his website a bunch of Black Bloc riot gear.
You cannot have anything that they would be able to come back and identify you at the end of the day.
John Sullivan is in the middle of the January 6th event. He came there with his girlfriend, Jade Sacker. While they're inside the Capitol, John Sullivan is screaming and telling everyone to burn it down, burn this place down. He's inciting the violence.
We gotta burn this. We gotta get this shit burned. Let me do. I got a knife. I got a knife.
He told the police to stand down.
He wants you to go home. I'm recording, and there's so many people. It's just they're gonna push their way up here.
And then when the police left, he told the crowd, "Go for it, go for it."
I want you to go home. Go, let's go.
But you can see this on his own video. Agitation, which, by the way, directly led to the death of Ashley Babbitt.
Go, let's go. Get this shit.
He's even heard on camera with his girlfriend Jade saying, "We did it. I can't believe we did it." That's what she said.
You were right. We did it. Dude, I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much. You were right.
This kid had a hoodie on, and then he had a beanie, black and red. We know those colors, dude. We know you're Antifa. Oh, no. Dude, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just trying to, figure things out.
A lot of them that I witnessed were in dark clothing. They had masks that were not your normal masks. They were masks that were similar to those things I see on the street. People who are Antifa.
Oh, I recognize you from Portland. Hey.
Had helmets on. Some of them did not. All of them had backpacks.
I'm seeing people from Portland here. Antifa and Trump supporters are literally in unison right now. This is insane. Anarchy, right? This is insane.
For a good portion of the day, I was with law enforcement, FBI, et cetera. And, guys would walk by and we'd look at each other and be like, oh, 2 more right there. Oh, here comes another one. Oh, there's another one. They were everywhere.
He's got one of those microphones, like I would call it a military style microphone. He said, yeah, it's going okay. I need 3 more over here. I need 6 here. Go down the hallway, 3rd door on the right, go in that door, 1st door on your left, go through that door, look to your right, that's where it is. He wasn't a participant, he was a director.
And seen some of the videos where people were, in the bushes, either putting on Trump stuff beforehand or taking it off afterward.
Had one young lady, the language that they used, the way they wore their clothing, even it said MAGA.
Like the fuck are you talking about, you nasty, trashy bitch?
Your face is looking pretty clean.
I had to change. It's fucking all over me.
Christ, they fucking sprayed and they tried to arrest him.
They tried to fucking arrest me. Sorry, I tried to change.
Yeah. That's back. I'd be very, very surprised if they weren't coming in from some other organization pretending to be MAGA folks and cause problems.
He's one of ours. He's not one of yours.
There was a lot of things that looked very, very off that day. There were people who were pushing against the police, and then there was individuals who were pulling them off. And there was a lot of that going on.
I saw some of that too. I was in the backside of the Capitol, between the Capitol and the Supreme Court building. And every time, there was a couple of times when people would be up at the front of the barricades, raising hell with the cops, and everybody around me started going, that's not us. It's not MAGA, we don't do that. crazy. You think something just went boom. I think it might have been tear gas.
So why are you letting people in on one side of the building, but then fighting a raging battle on the other?
They can't stop us all!
This guy, this one agitator standing up on the wall, just started heaping us with abuse, just giving us sort of military-style orders to not retreat, swearing at us, calling us names. Finally, one of them grabbed me to make me stop helping people leave the area.
Really?
This is some coordinated bad thing that's about to happen. They were trying to push people forward to use the force of thousands of unsuspecting people as not only as cover to attack the Capitol, but as all that kinetic power of humanity to overwhelm whatever police were still up there. It was like rounding up cattle, only the cattle were people.
Get in the Capitol, Trump supporters. Come on, get in the Capitol. Let's go.
What would be the intention of doing that? Of having people pushed into the Capitol that way?
Well, the intention is to cause chaos. It's to fool or trick or manipulate a large number of unsuspecting people to do what a very small number of organized people want done.
Hey, all you Trump supporters. They stole your pasture. Get in there. Go in the Capitol. Get in there, you stupid MAGA Trump supporters.
So you see this in Egypt with the Muslim Brotherhood using, quote, people power to overthrow a pro-U.S. government in Egypt. You'd see it in Ukraine when the people power movement overthrew a really crooked, unresponsive government. It's called a color revolution.
Well, on January 6th, you basically saw the culmination of years of political warfare operations. Now, political warfare is not direct warfare with armies, but it's nonetheless real war. You can die in it, and you can lose. Whole nations can lose their liberty, like as we saw in Venezuela and other countries.
I was in Sarajevo during the siege.
Are there any parallels between what you saw in Sarajevo?
The war in the Balkans, that was basically a unified country that was split and then enter in a war that nobody could stop. They try to get particular identity to reinforce identities or false identities. You know, you say you are black, you are white, you are this, you are that, the other are your enemy, and you reinforce. You know, a group of specialists went in a little town. They went to one side, the Muslim side. They say, why you are treated like that by these guys? You know, they are going to do something terrible to you. We can help you. We can train you. Then they went on the other side, did exactly the same. And this, if I remember correctly, was the first spark of the Civil War.
They have people on both sides, the people on Antifa, and they control and fund the people in the Proud Boys.
Both sides are being pitted against each other in order to cause chaos.
Yes.
Why did they want to do that?
Well, if you want to increase funding and support or for the Proud Boys, do this. If you want to increase and radicalize and get more people brought into Antifa, you get these things going.
I got out of the Marine Corps in 1996 and joined the FBI. Spent about a year with the U.S. Capitol Police working threats. So what a color revolution is an overturning of a system in a way where things are orchestrated that you believe and the other side makes it appear to be one thing, but it is completely something else.
Every year, there's about a dozen black men that die under questionable circumstances in a police altercation. So you could actually plan to leverage that nationwide politically and not even know who the guy is that's going to die until the right one does that looks right with the right optics, and then you go leverage it.
Pick any of the issues in the last 5 years. It's not about Russia collusion. It's not about systemic racism. It's not about police brutality. It's not about climate change. It's not about global warming. It's not about fill in the blank. What it's about is control of the state and power.
It's important for us to understand that there is a Marxist movement in this country that is determined to take over America as we know it and change it into a Marxist society.
Chinese people are good. Chinese Communist Party, the government that is bad.
Manning Johnson was an African-American Marxist in the early half of the 20th century, and he was a true believer. He was a leader in the American Marxist movement. And in fact, the Soviets targeted the African-American communities deliberately because they knew that they could amplify racial tension. Jim Crow law was still in effect.
The Black Lives Matter founder is an admitted Marxist.
I do believe in Marxism. It's a philosophy that I learned really early on in my organizing career.
She said she supported Chairman Mao. She's the one who set up this movement after going to Venezuela to meet with Hugo Chavez to give her seed money to run this movement.
Is a Russian design.
This is like legitimately a communist gun.
It is legitimately a communist gun.
But were you guys allowed to own weapons?
No, only the military.
Death to communism.
As a Chinese American, we love this country. We want to stand up for this country. We want to protect the United States. Now it's a turning point. Our country cannot go to socialism, cannot go to communism. It's too dangerous. We're going to lose our freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religious, you know. We're going to lose everything, no freedom.
You have to understand communism kills. The second part is how they manipulate language.
They will take a concept that's essential to a good, healthy, happy, progressing society, and insert a modifier, typically before the word, that will change the meaning of the word so completely as to literally turn it 180 degrees. I think every decent person would acknowledge that it's important to be correct. But since the woke supremacists are never right, they're never correct, they insert the modifier politically before the word correct and change its meaning 180 degrees. It no longer, being correct no longer means comporting to fact and reason. It now means comporting only to the political needs of the supremacy.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
And they, even with truth, it like now they have my truth. My truth. Yeah.
Exactly right. Most of us, most good, decent people would recognize justice as being, let's say, the closest possible wedding of outcome to behavior. They insert the modifier social before the word justice, and it changes the meaning 180 degrees. It no longer means a appropriate outcome to an individual's choices. You're now being judged based on things that you had no choice over, that you had no, it was not your behavior. And so they've changed the very meaning of justice by inserting the modifier.
Disinformation, extremism, misinformation, state-sponsored narratives, right? All of these things are terms of art used by the color revolutionaries. They've been used across the world, and the only difference is we're now seeing them employed here in the United States on the domestic population.
The first step in communism is to silence the voice of your opposition, and you do that through persecution. That's what communists do.
What frightens me is how similar are their tactics to these other supremacist movements while still on the ascendancy. A couple of just obvious ones, the quasi-independent military wing to go beat people up on the street. Hitler called them the brown shirts. The Democrats in their previous supremacist incarnation called them the Ku Klux Klan. Today we call them Antifa and BLM.
This visual of a burning police station, which...
But the most disconcerting, most frightening aspect, commonality, is the delegitimizing, dehumanizing, and demonizing of dissent.
Right.
We are not just good, decent, smart, loving, generous people who happen to be wrong, with whom they happen to disagree. By disagreeing, you have now established yourself as evil.
And what's happening now Just look around. What's happening now that we've got police, not only that their budgets have been cut, but they've been leaving in droves. What's happening?
White supremacy is not the problem. The Proud Boys were not the problem. Antifa, Black Bloc are the ones who threw bombs, mortars, and pepper spray at me and my children.
For 4 years, Antifa has burned, looted, and murdered people on the streets.
My baby girl, 8 years old, nearly was hit in the face with an explosive by white people dressed up in all black, attacking me and my family. It is not the Proud Boys.
Friends of mine were murdered on the streets, and they did nothing.
Let's go back to when Trump was inaugurated. There was an actual insurrection type of environment that day.
Absolutely.
You had Antifa blowing up cars and I mean, everything was pandemonium in
Actual
DC.
violence.
And those people, vast majority, hundreds of them, had their charges dropped.
There is no comparison. I mean, in Portland, I mean, the attempt to burn down a federal building in Portland, the attacks of the Columbus statue in Chicago, where I think something like 62 police officers were injured. There's really no comparison to the kind of violence we saw all year leveled at the federal government by Antifa and BLM.
Right. The militants took over 12 square blocks of Seattle, right, with guns.
Oh, shit.
And they're shooting people, killing people, and you're telling me that this is nothing?
Have you been visited by the FBI since you were in attendance that day?
No, I've not been visited by the FBI. And I'm feeling a little bit left out. I've been bragging about the fact that I went to Washington on January 6th for about 4 months now, and nobody said shit to me. And I want somebody to come investigate me because I think it'll help my career in Hollywood. And I'm sure a lot of those people will offer me many more roles if they know what a great American I am.
The alleged plan was to kidnap the governor and put her on trial for treason.
Whitmer, right? There was a kidnapping plot. That was a big thing. Well, look, there were 14 militia members charged. There were 12 FBI informants. That means that almost half of the people involved, until the FBI came in, it was a drinking buddy club.
Informants acting under the direction of the FBI played a far larger role than previously reported. Working in secret, they did more than just passively observe. They had a hand in nearly every aspect of the alleged plot, starting with its inception. The extent of their involvement raises questions as to whether there would have been a conspiracy without them.
We know that the former chief of the Capitol Police testified that they got no intelligence from the FBI about potential violence on January 6th.
On the 5th, we're going to shut down the White House.
We had obtained Zoom chats inside some of these left-wing protest groups.
There may be some people that are willing to break the windows to get into the government buildings. Is there going to be a war? Are people going to get killed?
This is terrorism being plotted. What happened on the 6th pretty much coincided with the information we had. It wasn't just these left-wing protesters plotting against the president. It was members of our own government.
As an attorney in the federal government,
I'm a management and programs analyst in a federal agency.
I've been a federal employee for about 28 years, and I work in the national security community.
Despite the fact that I'd contacted Department of Homeland Security, the Secret Service, the FBI, and the DC Metro Police about potential terrorist events happening in D.C., mind you, their ArcGIS map was targeting the Capitol. So despite the fact that I contacted them, they didn't do anything with the information I gave them.
FBI did almost nothing, preventative or post-event.
We know that the government is hiding the identity of many law enforcement officers who were present at the Capitol on January 6th.
No, we're breaking in now. The FBI has become a political tool of a hostile political element in the United States.
According to the government's own court filings, those law enforcement officers participated in the riot, sometimes in violent ways.
We need to go into the Capitol! Into the Capitol!
And as we came around the building, we ran into some FBI guys on the ground, and we said, hey, there's bad people here trying to incite violence. They want us to attack the police, and they didn't care. I said, you want to take a report? You want me to show you who they are? And they're like, no, we're good.
But strangely, some of the key people who participated on January 6th have not been charged. Look at the documents. The government calls those people unindicted co-conspirators. What does that mean? Well, it means that in potentially every single case, they were FBI operatives.
Name is Mark Ibrahim. I was a former DEA special agent here in the Los Angeles area. And before that, I was a member of the intelligence community, and I was also an Army intelligence officer for a number of years. Longtime friend of mine, Jorge, who I met in Iraq. Jorge's been an FBI informant for a number of years. He knew that the city was going to be locked down pretty hard, and he asked me to bring him to the rally. You know, specifically on January 6th, I said, are you working? And he said, yes. And he clearly sent me the text messages between him and his FBI handler. He showed me those text messages.
And what did those text messages say?
Did you go there to work for us? Which shows that he's previously worked for them. And then he gets tasked twice by an FBI agent to collect information.
Did Jorge, the man you went with, did he try to get you to go into the Capitol building?
Yes, he did. He asked me to go in with him. And then I said absolutely not.
Why do you think he wanted you to go in the Capitol?
I mean, he knew that I was an active special agent with the DEA. He knew that I was armed. And, you know, I think he wanted protection. I'm facing a charge for making a false statement. I said, to my recollection, or not, that I remember, my badge and gun were never openly displayed. And Jorge took a photo of me showing my badge and gun, which was a personal photo. That at the time, I was a credentialed DEA special agent. I'm allowed to carry my gun anywhere.
But you weren't doing this.
No, absolutely not. My gun was never unholstered. I never pointed my badge or gun at anyone.
Imagine if you could scan millions of social media profiles, take the predictive analytics that you have to where you can scan and find the most vulnerable people. When you understand enough about an individual, you know how to reflexively control them.
Jorge is being taken advantage of by the FBI. He suffers from severe PTSD, and he's an American hero. This dude is a hero. And he's given a lot, and he's suffering a lot. To text him, collect as much as you can that day, full knowing that this guy has PTSD and he's not in his right state of mind. It's like asking a child, oh, take a camera and go into the Capitol building and document everything you see. It's just irresponsible, completely.
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed by the whole thing. I didn't go inside. I wanted to go inside, and so I came away with, I didn't come away with what I wanted.
You know, I'm on footage from that day saying that this is a shame and this is sad. I was not ooh and rawing for Donald Trump. The Capitol building got raided, and a woman lost her life.
Have you looked or seen the footage of Ashley Babbitt being killed?
We saw her being wheeled out and pushed into an ambulance. And
you saw the body being brought in?
The body, yes. And she was covered in blood, and they were putting oxygen to her. Just killed this poor lady. It's fucking tragic. Poor lady got shot.
They shot a woman! They shot a woman!
We don't have any weapons!
Yes!
And they shot that woman!
147 days. since my wife was murdered, executed, and every day that goes by, it's just another twist in the knife in my gut. First time I met Ashley, she started working where I was working. Here comes this little pretty thing up to me and says, "You look like you're upset. I want to talk to you. You got this grumpy." And that was another thing she'd always tell me, "Fix your face. Fix your face. You're scaring people. Fix your face." If she was your friend, you needed no other friend. It was not just people, living things. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times a week I'd show up to my office and there'd be a random dog there. Actually, where did this dog come from? It was running down the street. I didn't want to get hit. This girl was like running, just looking like she was trying to get out of the area she was in, but she was in a hurry to do something else and actually pulled over. That's just what she did. She pulled over. "Are you okay?" "I'm late to a job interview." Ashley brought that girl to her job interview, and 3 days later, that woman came down to our office and gave her a hug and said, "I got that job, and it's because you got me there on time." Literally just gave her life for this country. I mean, it rolled off the tongue way too easy, but from the age of 17, she signed up for the Air Force at 17 years old after 9/11, and she knew that young that she wanted to serve her country.
There is a sea of nothing but red, white, and blue, and Patriots and Trump. And it was amazing to get to see the president talk. We are now walking down the inaugural path.
I got that phone call saying that they just saw Ashley on TV, and my heart sank, and I didn't really, you just go numb at that point. And I turned the TV on and I saw it was her. I knew it was her. Immediately, I recognized the clothes she was wearing, her face, side profile, her hair. And I just went into a panic that I can't really explain. I'm far from a control freak, but I like to be able to control my environment when it comes to my wife, and when I see my wife hurt. I'm laying on the ground dying, and surrounded by a bunch of strangers, and she's probably looking for me at that moment. And like I say, I hoped it was a rubber round. I had to walk away from the TV because they kept replaying the footage. I called 20 different hospitals, and I got nothing. And to the point where I just started yelling at them like, "You can't tell me you don't have a gunshot victim in there. You got to have a gunshot victim. There was only one person shot there, you know? We don't have her. We don't have her. We don't have her." My brother called from Massachusetts, called the DC Metro dispatch, and they literally yelled at him over the phone saying, "Somebody's already called here. We didn't effing shoot her." And they hung up on my brother. So I'm calling hospitals. I'm trying not to watch the TV, but I have to keep it on because no one's calling me. No police are calling me. No hospital's calling me. Nobody's telling me what happened to Ashley. So I keep TV on. I go in the kitchen, and I heard the voice on the, come over, saying that the woman that had been shot at the Capitol had passed away. And I just collapsed in the kitchen. I collapsed in the kitchen. The neighbors all said it sounded like a wounded, dying animal was inside the house. And then at that point, my life changed forever.
The Department of Justice says it will not charge the Capitol police officer who shot and killed a protester on January 6th inside the U.S. Capitol. 35-year-old Ashley Babbitt was fatally shot while attempting to breach the Capitol doors during the insurrection. Officials say an investigation found insufficient evidence to support a criminal prosecution.
And I saw it right away, and I knew it right away. The use of force continuum. I used to have to carry a card around my neck with it. Told you how to advance down those steps before you use deadly force. She's been doing it longer than me. I carried a gun for 10 years, she carried one for 14. She knew what was going on. So to say that there was a warning or she saw this person, no. She goes to that window, and then she looks to her left, and she's got a gun in her face, and she is being yelled at to get back. I can guarantee you her hands are coming off that door real quick, and she's getting out of there. But she didn't see him, and she didn't see him and she didn't hear him. I truly believe that that police officer had followed the use of force continuum and verbalized, which is a very early step, verbalization. Then you go to physical presence less than physical force. You have impact weapons. You have all of this before you pull the trigger. But you got one little girl, 5'2", 110 pounds, come through a window and you shoot her, point blank. Nothing was followed. That is not training. You can look up the Capitol Police Department's use of force policy. It's down there at Glencoe, Georgia, where they all get trained at FLETC. This is all public stuff. It's a trauma that I can't actually explain to watch your best friend and your wife that you're charged with protecting die in front of you to where you can't touch her, you can't help her, you can't try to comfort her. But I can't be the quiet one anymore. I have to be, as loud as she would be. So I got to be her voice now. Dogs don't get enough credit in this world for what they are and the love that they have for us. That was her baby. That was her best friend in the world. She had had him for 7 years at that point. He died. He died in February after she didn't come home, brokenhearted. He had showed some signs after the 6th, going towards middle, late January, that something was off with him. He was very depressed. It was about 5 o'clock out here, and he didn't meet me at the door. And I found him in the back room. Her not coming home, and I mean, you obviously can never prove it, but for 3 days after, we spread her ashes, I truly believe that he just said, my job's here is done, Dad. Like, I want to go see Mom,
We have hundreds of thousands of people here, and I just want them to be recognized by the fake news media. Turn your cameras, please, and show what's really happening out here, because these people are not going to take it any longer. They're not going to take it any longer.
Looks like they're not going to take it. There's the lady playing, we're not going to take it. I gotta tell you, this is great fun. Dee Snider wrote the song, We're Not Gonna Take It, and he's had his own brushes with the government himself.
The PMRC's original intentions were genuine. This was a bipartisan thing.
Right.
They could agree on this. We want to censor rock and roll.
Mr. Snider, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Dee Snider. That's S-N-I-D-E-R. There happens to be one area where I'm in complete agreement with the PMRC, as well as the National PTA and probably most of the parents on this committee. That is, it is my job as a parent to monitor what my children see, hear, and read during their preteen years. The full responsibility for this falls on the shoulders of my wife and I, because there is no one else capable of making these judgments for us.
We're on the road, and I'm starting to be arrested for profanity and arrested for disorder, for disorderly, abusive language and disorderly conduct. Lenny Bruce had already been down this path, and it was interesting here. It's the 80s. We're talking about 20 years later, and we're still dealing with it, but we're still dealing with censorship issues today. We're Not Gonna Take It was, I wrote the song, and it was inspired by my trials and tribulations. But being in my 20s, I very specifically avoided mentioning dad or mentioning teachers or mentioning jobs or ex-girlfriends, and said, keep it general, let people decide what they're not going to take. I did Celebrity Apprentice, and during that time I got to know the Trump family and become friends. So when Mr. Trump decided he was going to run for president, he called me up and said, Dee, I'd like these, we're not going to take it. I was like, he's a friend. Sure, man. I started to get hammered by Twisted Sister, hammered by my family, my kids. So anyway, and I called up and I said, Trump, I need you to stop. And to his credit, he said, okay, and never used it again.
Do you think that you should be able to keep somebody from using your music if you don't like what they stand for? Do you think you should have a legal remedy for that?
That's a really good question. And I don't think we need to have a legal remedy for that.
We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We've got the right.
If you don't like the way the public school systems are operating, go complain. Go run for school committee. The tech titans can censor us all day long. There is a digital army out there that they're never going to defeat.
We'll fight the powers that be. Just don't pick our destiny, 'cause you don't know us, you don't belong. We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. Oh, you're so condescending.
We've got to keep pushing. We've got to keep fighting to bring the truth to light.
We fight like we're doing right now by not being afraid.
Your life is right.
We're
We're being played. And that includes people that don't disagree with us. They're being played too.
If that's your best won't do.
Come on, Phyllis.
We need to come together as Americans again and remember why we started this country.
You think that by being silent because it's not you at the moment, it's your neighbor, you need to know history promises it will be you next.
You know, it's no longer a question of saving the Republic, because the Republic is already lost. Our founding fathers risked everything to establish this country. What are you willing to risk? I risk hauling my 62-year-old ass up on this horse. Let's go, people. What are they gonna do? Kill us all? Yeah!
Yeah, no, can you please get off the plane?
Let's take it easy, okay? You
guys. Me?
The fact that we're about to be framed, dog came and sniffed the pizza.
You don't take other people's licenses from them.
This is the first time I've met you.
Okay, just the palms of your hands, please. Can you answer any of my questions? It's un-American.
Somebody's selling a new religion. Somebody's selling a lie. Somebody wants all the strife and division that's driving us out of our minds. They're telling the world not to trust their own eyes. They're telling the people they're wrong. They're keeping the truth for their power and gain, and taking whatever we've got. Some of you eat all the lies you've been fed. Some of you just go along, training acceptance inside of your head to give them whatever they want. You're leaving your brothers and sisters behind. You're told it's the best thing to do. You're shutting out friends 'cause you're told that's what's right. Now they win because all of us lose. And it's so sad watching these times as they change. And it's so bad. The battle's been violent and strange as they lock us indoors in a prison of this silent war. So take back what is yours. Do not let them win this silence.